Hi all. Hope you can give me a quick 5 minutes just to go through a few things that are on my mind at the minute, and also hopefully to get in a few thank yous to recognise some of the work some folk have been doing. So things on my mind. Well, first things first, because I've just been working on it this weekend. We've got a board workshop coming up. 90-minute board workshop in early October, which is going to be about how we are going to be transforming the informatics service into a modern digital data and technology service and operating model. So in that session, I'm going to be doing an overview, and it's not just me. Hopefully we can have some of our SLT members in there, although I appreciate the organisation can be a bit hierarchical, so we'll see what happens there. But hopefully SLT members will be there to support. That will be about describing to the health board what the current state of technology and applications are in Betsy. So the current operating model and ways of working, so how some of that works, the future state of technology and how it's going to be defined. In other words, how we're going to determine what the future is, the future blueprint, and also some suggestions on what our future blueprint is. A few things for you to think about. I'm going to put these on the shared area. One of the things that the organisation is big on is managing risks. It's a very risk-based organisation, and there's something called the Board Assurance Framework. The Board Assurance Framework risks are the risks which relate to what are the risks which might stop us delivering our strategy. So we've drawn up a couple of risks with John Cunliffe, our independent member, to articulate where actually a couple of principal risks where potentially if we don't make some changes, the future strategy of the organisation won't be delivered. And that is, there's a risk that we won't achieve our strategic and operational objectives caused by having inadequate arrangements for the identification, commissioning and delivery of digital data and technology enabled change. And we've got another one which will be around we're not able to maintain the minimum levels of service unless we have the necessary resources in place to enable us to do that better. Now those risks, those BAF risks, it'd be good for people to find out what a BAF risk is, just so you know, because it's a key and fundamental part of the organisation, and BCU are obsessed with risks, I guess. So it's a good thing to know what those things are, and I'll put our risks on that shared area. I need to apologise as well. Really sorry for the hassle people have been getting accessing some of those documents I've been sharing, the patient records one and all that. The SharePoint area was meant to have access open to everyone from informatics. Hasn't worked for whatever reasons. We've just changed that now, so it's got open access to everyone in the whole of BCU anywhere. There's nothing secret in the documents and all that putting on there. So hopefully when I post things on there now and send a link, you'll be able to get into that no problem. The board workshop, of course, as well as talking about those things, we'll be talking about some of the gaps we've got, the fact that we're going to change our operating model. You'll recall the service plan we've got in place, the 21 actions we're going to take to transform informatics to a standard practice DDAT function, really. It'll highlight some of the gaps we've got, the capability gaps in terms of roles we just haven't got. So we haven't got architects, we haven't got software engineers, we don't do product management, we don't really do business relationship management. I know there's some of that in the information team. Service and service design, they've got limited business analysts, not necessarily got enough trainers. So these are all things, big asks that we're going to be putting forward to say, this is the way, these are the skills and capabilities we're going to need to move this service forward and move the health board forward, and this is how we're going to operate differently to make that happen. Other things which are really interesting in working with DHCW on doing these assessments. So you might recall that we're going to do an assessment in terms of what is the clinical functionality we've got available from all our systems in BCU. That's going to be, the company's called HIMSS, HIMSS. The assessment's called EMRAM, EMRAM, and that's a HIMSS EMRAM assessment, which ultimately is to assess where we are from a clinical maturity point of view, what is functional, what's available in our electronic healthcare record systems, of which there are many in this health board. So that's going to be a big benchmarking we're going to do. So really keen to progress that piece. I would encourage you to research that. What is HIMSS MRAM? Just so you get a view of what that is. Further, all that does is assess, as Ambu, Jason, and some of our other clinicians, Aaron and Sean Jones, etc., know because they're involved in some of this. All that assesses on a high level is what's the functionality and the maturity of our organisation in terms of using clinical systems. What our clinical systems do. It does not think about the usability of those systems. So to couple with that, hoping to negotiate with DHCW are already going to pay for the HIMSS one, to also do what's known as a class assessment, a class usability assessment, KLASS. So recommend people, if you're interested, look those things up. Remember, information and technology is the means to an end, not the end itself. Digital means changing the way we operate so that we're delivering better outcomes for our patients. Some of those assessments help to ascertain where we are now and where we might want to be. So you might want to have a look at some of that. These are all things which will be discussed at the board session. Conscious of the fact that another big thing, of course, has been in not just in the news, but a big deal for us in BCU has been the cyber attack on Advanced. So Advanced is the supplier of various healthcare systems actually, but one in particular is the Adastria system, which is used in the GP out of hours service. Now that really underlines the importance of keeping systems as up to date as possible, or as near to the latest version, the patching work that we do and all of that, and the importance of our essential services program work. So really keen to push Sean and team to get that essential services proposals ratified. But coming back to that Adastria outage, it's meant that our out of hours service has been without referrals from 111, electronic referrals. It's meant a lot of paper processes. It's meant basically a lot of disaster recovery work on business continuity arrangements have had to come into place. But it's also meant, our reaction to that, I've been really impressed with our reaction to that, the time and effort. So just to name a few people, James Sattel and team, Sophie Hannaby, Rob Hughes, Dave Overthrow, Jake, Ian Crabb, Anne Pierce, Jay Dean, those guys, that team have gone above and beyond to help support the out of hours service and the health board to keep services running despite the cyber attack. It does not look like this system's coming back anytime soon. There is a temporary solution being put in place. In fact, going live I think on Monday, Tuesday this week. So fingers crossed and all that. But just a shout out and a bit of a thank you for the work that's been going on there. The wider healthcare system, as you can see on the TV, is under massive pressure, not least in our particular area. Big issues with Welsh Government funding as well. So, added challenges that relate to all of that. Some new programme examples, some opportunities. So we've signed up to be one of the first to take on EPMA, Electronic Prescribing and Medicines Administration. So it might be worth you looking that up. David Powell being the program manager on that. So yeah, definitely be worth having a look at that. Really, again, just to say, I'm very happy about the rigour that's around some of the programs that we have got in place. Some of them which have got the rigour is great. So I'm really pleased about the rescoping of the CETO program and how that's going to progress. So fair dues to that, and really keen to make sure we're very clean what the plan is, what we're going to deliver, what we're not going to deliver. We're managing the budget. We've got highlight reports and all that. So it's a big push for all our projects. Thank you to Simone Owen for giving me some training on the CETO product. I quite like that capability and the fact that we're now focusing on what that capability is really good at. So if we can get that rolled out much better and much quicker, then that would be great. I think another thing as well is to highlight the fact that the recent, just to shout out really about for the service desk. So you may know or you might not know, but it's been a really busy month for the team, answering over 3,000 calls, and I just want to recognise sometimes some people don't recognise what goes on in behind the scenes. So there's a lot of good feedback. People are very impressed with the service. Some really good feedback in terms of saying that how the service desk is helping them out from the users. And just really keen to just recognise some of that and the recent performance on the service desk, which has been really good. Another thing to note, of course, is our switchboard staff. Again, people who can often be forgotten about, really on the front line, dealing with the day-to-day pressures and, especially with wards not answering phones and the operational pressures that go on. Been round to most of the switchboards, and I understand that the YGC team have basically been recognised for some of the work that they've been doing, and just to say really in terms of relatives calling in, even in the worst possible times, etc., over the COVID period, for instance, and all that, I just want to recognise the work of the switchboard teams, and just to say thanks very much. They are part of our team, an important part of what we provide as a hospital. And again, we're going to be looking at where we can make improvements to those areas. I know there's people looking at the ins and outs of some of that. Anyway, a bit of a ramble. I should have probably planned what I was going to say in advance of this, but yeah, just thanks very much for everything everyone's doing. I know there's a lot of pressures on, there's a lot of change, and we've got almost a split screen way of working, doing all this change while we're still doing the day-to-day work. It's almost redesigning the aeroplane as it's flying. So thanks very much, and be careful out there. See you later.